And we are live. The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and I have cracked an adult beverage tonight. So
Finally. It's finally... It's only been a year of recording since the last time we've actually drank on the show.
That's right.
Hey, summer of beers is coming.
That's right.
Don't.
Yes.
It's right around the corner. But speaking of things we loved, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Turtles.
We don't know how to sing. Da da da. Dads, I don't know if you saw the trailer. I assume you did. You had a disturbance in the gaming force just by the fact that this thing existed. They have announced Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Jeff, what was your impression as soon as you saw this thing?
It brought me immediately back to the arcades, right?
What's an arcade, Dad?
Right, exactly. What do you do at these things? You have to put quarters in and money? Yeah, my kids have
Is that like a Bitcoin or what is it?
No idea. They have no idea what we went through. Yeah, and the joysticks that wouldn't work properly. No, this new game came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was expecting it just dropping. And it shows this new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the old school cartoon animated way, as well as the old pixelated game way. And it brings me all the way back to even like Turtles in Time. I played that all in the Super NES, but developed and published by the same guys that did Streets of Rage 4 and also the Scott Pilgrim game that was re-released. So all that pixel art, that beautiful pixel art is in here and it looks amazing.
Yeah, more than just the pixel art, it was in talking to you. That's the first time I'd actually learned that it was from the same Scott Pilgrim folks and Streets of Rage, which I have purchased and played, adored it, like really like how they did it. Okay. So to hear that this is going to be of that caliber, that is stunning.
Yeah. It speaks for itself too. Like if you watch the video, if you can go and look at this game, just even throwing a foot soldier at the screen and it breaking the screen is my childhood in a nutshell. Like I used to do that all the time. That was one game mechanic I loved. So yeah.
To see them do that, that's basically saying, hey, don't worry. We get it. We know it's up. Right. Yeah. To see him flying towards it. I don't know what your impression was. What I really liked in watching it, how the gameplay was going, was thinking, yeah, I could play this with my kids. I think this is going to be a pickup from a family perspective. So it's going to be one of the ones that I get to really enjoy and my kid will also go along with and have fun with. I don't know if it's going to play really well in your house or not.
Yeah, I showed my kids the trailer and they were pretty excited for it. So I am all in. I think if I get my wife in, we got 4 players. We got 4 Ninja Turtles that can take on, Perfect. Baxter, the Technodrome, Shredder. Oh my God. Wait until they see, I don't think they've ever seen Krang, the brain guy that lives in that robot thing. So my kids are going to be just blown away. I don't know. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I adore this, man. So it's nostalgia done right. I kind of dislike how some companies trade in on nostalgia so much.
Yeah.
But it's really just, hey, you remember this, give us your money now. As opposed to, this feels like it's companies saying, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And in many ways, the game still holds up. I think you could go back and you'd still love it. So it's really just saying, hey, let's take that, modernize it, and add some new levels and things like that, have some fun. So this feels to me like nostalgia done right.
Yeah.
All dads take notice. This sounds fantastic.
That's right.
Now, speaking of dads taking notice, I'd like to put some dads on notice because a good friend of mine recently had a baby and he's going through the worst throes of it. And dads, like, go back to the first couple months. Your baby's not sleeping. You're not sure if it's eating enough, if it's too cold, if you're not sleeping at all yourself. You're up 4 times a night. You're changing diapers all over the place. It's awful. Like, you're so tired. It's so bad. And you know what sucks? You know what really sucks? Is to have a parent come in and say to you, well, it never gets better.
Yeah.
It never gets easy.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. So first thing is that's like going to somebody who's drowning and shoving him underneath the water. That is so utterly unhelpful.
No. Yeah.
It boggles the mind. It really upsets me that you would do that to someone. Oh, you're having a hard time swimming? Like, here's some weight.
Right. And yeah, that's totally not what it is. Like, yeah, you're exhausted now. You don't want to hear that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So it
And that's
does get better. It does.
and that's the number two thing. So firstly, that's awful. Like, you should not do that to somebody. You should lie if it's going to help get them through it. Secondly, it's not true. Exactly like you said. When's the last time, Jeff, you changed a diaper?
Oh my God. It's forever ago. Thank God.
Like, during your current schedule, are you getting up every single night, four
You know
times
what?
a night?
No, I'm not, Trevor.
It's like the thought that I understand parents seem to want to really protect themselves in saying that, like, I'm a parent and life is not as easy as it was when I was single.
Yeah.
I hear you. I got you there. All right. But to tell a poor parent who's just starting out, who's in the throes of the worst misery as they transition into being a father, that it never gets any easier is such a crock of garbage. And it's so unhelpful. We have got to stop doing it to ourselves.
It really is. And I guess even during that time, I remember parents kind of throwing other parents under the bus. Oh. My kid's an angel. My kid sleeps through the night. And you know that they're lying through their teeth. And even if they aren't, why do you have to say that to somebody that's like suffering? Like this?
So I just encourage it. So, I mean, I have a 3 and a 5-year-old. Jeff's got his older boys. It's just, if anybody is coming to you, I would almost like encourage you to preemptively tell them, oh, I'm so glad I'm past that phase. It gets so much better. There's some magical moments. Enjoy it. But hey, don't worry. You'll get your time back. You'll get your sleep back. It's going to be fine. It's going to get so much better.
That's right. You'll get your gaming back too. So,
right? It's just, I mean, man, there was a Gaming Dad Victory of the Week a couple weeks ago where the dad, having just had his second and a couple months passed, and he finally dusted off his old system.
Right.
There it is. Congratulations. Like, victory, Gaming Dad Victory. Like, it gets better. Don't listen to that. And dads, stop doing this to other dads, please.
Agreed. Yeah. You don't need to put anyone down to make yourself feel better. So yeah, forget that noise.
All right. Now let's move on to some more positive stuff. If there's one thing I think that, Jeff, you and the listeners can agree on, is that I'm hip.
Right.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I got my finger on the pulse. Right?
Always.
So I played this hot game that everyone's talk about, Fortnite.
Oh.
So in Fortnite, kidding aside, what at the recommendation of a friend, what I did get into was Valheim.
Oh yes.
So it's an amazing story. The first thing that really appealed to me about it was the story of the company. There's some sort of softness I have in my heart for a great company story. This is a group of 5 guys. 5 people.
Yeah.
Right. I said guys. I'm not actually sure the genders are there, but 5 people produced this game, sells millions of copies, and this is all. And not for nothing, this is the same week that they announced Anthem is officially shutting down their servers and not doing any more development.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they wish they had this type of hype around it, where 5 people come together and produce this thing. Sells through millions. It's all the rage on Twitch. But then you go onto Steam. It's $22. Canadian dollars.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
$22 for this game that is, now it is early access. I don't know if they'll maybe bump it up when it actually goes into full production, but $22 for the most hyped game ever. So tell you what, friends got it. Let's dive in. Let's play it. Nice. Short answer, really like it.
Okay, good.
It's a lot of fun. Now, I won't bore everybody with the full details of it. Like, you get it. Like, everyone, like, by now you've probably heard about it, seen some gameplay videos. So I don't need to kind of prattle on about that. But it is survival. It's crafting. It's set in Norse mythology. So Odin and everything else. It's in a style that you would almost call a bad PS2 game or a good PS1 game.
Okay, like so bad it's good kind of thing. Like it knows its stuff.
Oh no, I mean it's pixelated on purpose. It does feel purposeful, is what I'd say. But it's pixelated and kind of blocky. But it's not from a limitation standpoint. It feels like a decision standpoint. But it does have it has modern trappings as far as trying to lead you through. Not hand holding, but nowhere near as bad as Minecraft, which throwback to last episode when we talked about how hard it can be to get into Minecraft.
Yeah.
This felt a little bit easier. Not super obvious. A little bit. There's some difficulties to figure out how the crafting and works, but slow and steady. They got prompts. There's a bird, if you're watching on the live stream, showing how it works.
Okay.
So you're going in, it's got survival crafting. And yeah, it just felt fairly chill. Like, it felt very dad friendly when I started to go through it. And I had a lot more impetus to keep going with this one than I had anytime I played Minecraft, for instance, or even Subnautica or some of the other crafting type games.
Right. Okay, that's interesting because I've wanted to get into this game, and just owning a Mac, it's not as easy.
Yeah.
And the laptops I have that are PC are for the kids for school, so they're not really powerful. But from a gaming dad perspective, I'm wondering, what is the save system like? Because I haven't really heard much about that. So can you hop in and hop out, or do you need to kind of like Minecraft where you save the world or the state of it, but then you always kind of like respawn in your home by a bed or something? Do you know like how that works?
Yeah, so I can't speak to it perfectly because I haven't really died yet. I'm still in the early. I'm still in the early days. Well, I know.
You're
I'm
just
in
a
the
pro.
early days.
Hold on.
Yeah. Twitch streamer pro number 1 over here.
That's right. Yeah.
It's because I'm in the first days. I should preface this that I haven't played this for hours upon hours upon hours.
Okay.
So I'm in the first couple days of it. But what I have noticed is that there is the save when you do sleep. But I have noticed an automatic save icon happening all the time in the top right.
Okay.
One thing that it suggests is hey, you should really build a treasure chest and put extra stuff you have in case you should ever, die.
Oh.
So it's kind of they're sort of hinting that look, you're probably going to die at some point. You should probably be ready for it.
That's good.
So as best I've seen, I noticed the icon coming up a fair bit. It feels like the saving is fairly generous for it.
Okay. That's
and in early days, you're not just kind of thrown to the wilderness. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to die. You're going to get some time to get your bearings, get your legs.
Right. Okay. That's good to know.
Which is good. Now, the crafting stuff, if you've bounced off of other crafting systems, it's kind of worth seeing this one. It's not that it's so much different. I think it's just how abundant everything is in the world that it doesn't feel overly task-driven. It's oh, God, I need to build a crafting table. So this is going to take me now 6 in-game hours of slamming trees. It feels fairly generous, especially when you first walk around. There's just branches all over the place, rocks all over the place. So you can get it going. You run into a boar, you can finally kill it. You'll get some of the tanning. Tick, tick, tick. It seems like the progression feels nice. There is the weapons and everything do degrade.
Oh.
But it's fairly lenient, and then the repairing of it is super easy. Couple clicks and up it goes. It degrades, but it doesn't break.
Okay, so you can repair. It's not like Zelda where it's just hey, look at this sword and it's gone.
That is that has poisoned me so much on damages. I bounced off so hard on that game because of it that I really did think about it.
Yeah.
So the crafting of it, the repairing of it, it's all just fairly smooth. The enemies show up, tons of fun, and every review I've seen on it really speaks to that slow progression, the fun battles as it goes. There is a bit more of a story. There's a structure where there are 6 or 9 big bosses, big beasts that you as someone trying to get in good with Odin and go to Valhalla are trying to slay.
Okay.
So you can kind of think about you have there's 10 missions in that sense, and you're just trying to build yourself up powerful enough to do it. Sailing, adventuring, walking, the music is super relaxed in between all of that. So as you're doing it, there's this real sense of calm as you're going about. It's a very chill game. $22, 5 people, super fun. Norse mythology, which is just a blast to kind of get into. Who doesn't like Vikings? And crafting, and it's a very approachable, I think, dad-friendly approach to items degrading and crafting that make this a great package. I highly recommend this for dads.
Oh, well, you sold me on it, so I was on the fence. And if it works or not, it's it's $20. Is it solo friendly? Because with dads and timing lining up might not be.
Yeah. So definitely, I think as you get to some of the big bosses, you're probably going to find it's going to be a lot easier if you do it with others. Okay. That's what I've heard. But as far otherwise, it's really just kind of a chilled solo experience if you want to do it that way.
Okay.
I'm curious. I do hope to hop on with some gaming buddies who are currently active in it.
Nice.
Just because I haven't really played a game like this online with anybody for quite some time, so I'm kind of curious to like even dip my toe into that type of world again, just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Report back on that.
Make a name for gaming dads out there in the Viking mythology. So.
But I would honestly, I would also think that if you be given the popularity of it, which is kind of exciting for it, is that you would be able to find other players.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'd recently really been encouraged. There was Galactic Rock Hunters or something to that extent. Okay, well, now we come to the time of the show where Trevor Googles something.
I did see something where they're like, if you die, you leave your stuff behind, and there's a group that can go out and retrieve it for you or something like that, where they'll like escort you to your dead body or to your stuff, which is kind of neat to see because we saw that in other games.
Oh, I see. Yes, that would be amazing. I feel almost ashamed that I haven't died yet. I'm just too good.
You're just too good, yeah.
But yeah, I unfortunately can't report on that yet. But even if it is, it's sort of you just prepare for it. You have stuff behind, and ideally, everything else I've seen about it has been very much about encouraging the player to continue and have fun. So it's not Souls-like in that regard, and I've not seen any reviews to say so. Good. What I was going to mention, so it's Deep. Another game I'd heard about, Deep Rock Galactic.
Okay.
4-player cooperative mining sim for 4 characters. This isn't a review and I can't speak to it. The only reason I brought it up is that there seems to be a new wave of multiplayer games. Apparently this is one of the most fun, supportive online games that you can play, where I saw 2 to 4 different reviewers specifically mention that it is so much fun to get online. They've had such a great experience. They were so friendly and helpful, like no issues.
Wow.
So well, I'd have to almost imagine with the type of positivity around this game, I'd almost just hope that if you wanted to hop into a game, you need some help, you want to bring in some people, you could almost go into uncharted waters for some unknowns online.
That sounds great. I'm in. Where do I sign up?
Gaming Dads server coming up.
That's right. Yeah.
Any gaming dads with a server we can hop on, give us a message. But definitely check it out. Valheim. You've heard about it. This is the first dad report saying it worked out. It is good and worth checking out.
Nice. Passes the test.
Yeah. Now, on to some kind of sadder news in some ways. It was an interesting event for me that had brought this about, and I think you've had a similar event that I can speak to. Specifically in clearing up my office, just too much tech gear around, got to start doing some selling.
Right.
And I'm looking at my flight stick.
Oh.
Now, this is the flight stick that I used with great enjoyment on Elite Dangerous.
Yes, we've had many episodes of that. So what's happening? What's going on?
I'm just not going to play Elite Dangerous anymore. No. I love it. But to really get anything out of it, you have got to put some significant time into it, right? When traveling between one station to another takes like an hour, that is not congruent to dad time. At least what I'm experiencing right now with my dad time, right? Okay. I'm talking like a couple hours in and out, got a bip. It's one of the biggest reasons why I love the new Xbox is how fast it loads, because it just saves me so much dad time. So Elite in this type of slow burn game, it's just not happening. So I made the heartbreaking decision to sell that flight stick.
No.
And there's just that kind of stake through the heart moment where it's just like, it's dead. that type of gaming is dead to me now.
Yeah, it's gone now.
And I understood from you had a similar scenario with another very popular, a much more popular franchise, in fact.
Yeah, I had Guitar Hero. I was in love with Guitar Hero. My wife can attest to that. She hates these songs when they replay on the radio because she knows where I can screw up, which is just in her brain. But yeah, I had 2 guitars. I had Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3. I love these games. And when my son was born, again, the place was filling up with just plastic toys everywhere. And that was just on the chopping block. It just was like, well, when am I ever going to play this? I have this baby boy that's like upstairs. I can't have loud music and loud clacking of the guitar. I can't have headphones because I have to hear them. So it went to a garage sale, and I probably underpriced this thing just to get rid of it. So somebody else is very happy, but it's just, again, like you said, it was just like one of those parts of you that like you really had fun and good memories with it, and then it just dies and goes away. But even with today, my kids are old enough. I'm like, oh no, we could have had our own rock band.
I got a whole band right here.
I should have saved it. So yeah, it's kind of like, oh no, like maybe we can get back into it, and then yeah, hopefully they come out with something new, because if you try to get these ones back, they are astronomical prices. So I can't do that, but I am hoping that these come back to me at some point in some shape or form, and we'll just junk up the downstairs again with just plastic guitars everywhere. So,
Man, to have like a whole kid band
yeah,
just cranking away, have one of them singing or something.
yeah. My youngest, loves to sing. So like, I
Oh.
showed him some of the songs on YouTube, and he's like, "Why don't we have this game?" You know what? I just kind of looked at him like, "You are right. Why don't we have this
Why
game?"
Because your dad's a fool, son.
Yeah. So
Your
I
dad's
get you.
a fool.
I get you. Like sometimes it's just life calls. You have to get rid of some stuff, and then years later you can regret it. But it does give you that space for a while. So
Yeah, I kind of think that I have to wonder if a game Elite for me would come back around. And I suppose so. Like if both my kids are off at camp or something, and it's a weekend, some strange weekend where they're gone, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna fire this up
yeah,
and go space trucking for like 2 or 3 hours. Like if all of a sudden you can find that kind of chunking time,
yeah.
I suppose I could see it coming back around. There's some part of me that assumes that doesn't happen until they leave for college.
Oh, it's another 15 years you have to think about. So
Just fine. I'm not trying to wish away the time, but
Great.
it just really struck me, the idea, like I'm trying to find the best way to say it without sounding like sad and bitter. And the kids listen to this like, wow, he didn't like us very much.
yeah, well, like it again, it's just something that has to leave, right? Like just your life changes. I even had the SingStar one with the mics, so that could have come in handy. Again, my kids love to sing, so just thinking about other things, that they're all peripherals, and all the systems change and the connections change, and you'll be able to buy it later, I'm sure, if you absolutely need it. But
Yeah, we'll get in there. But there's those gaming dad moments where it's just like it's time to put away childish things. That's like that old quote goes, and there's just some games you're not going to be able to get into. And I mean, again, what's encouraging is modern games seem so tripping over themselves to make it easier to hop in and out,
Yeah.
save points, guides, like any kind of easy modes, whatever it would be. The newest versions of consoles specifically focused on getting in and out of games super fast
Yeah,
with
that's
start
right.
load up. I don't know if you tried to go back to your old PS4 at all.
no,
Since
no, I play a lot of PS4 games on my PS5 just because they run so smooth. It's quick loading, and it's just in and out. But I can't go back. I like everything's quick, everything's fast. So
I mean, I'm sadly at the point too. Like I meant to ask you. I didn't mean to. This is kind of bombarding you because I didn't talk about it before we started the show. But have you been touching your PSVR at all?
you know what? I will admit I have not. I think about it. Like, you know how you kind of like daydream about it? You're like, that would be fun. Even just Beat Saber. Beat Saber would be great to get into again. But I have not. It is in a case. It's probably got a lot of dust on it. And I don't think I've plugged it in for about a year, maybe.
Oh, yowza.
Yeah. So,
I'm in about the same boat, and I've been feel real guilty about that because I suppose I shouldn't feel guilty. It's not that I don't adore it, and I don't even endorse it as a platform. I think it's fantastic, but it comes down to current life scenario, much like we're talking with Elite Dangerous and Flight Sticks, much like Guitar Hero, and what can you do right now? And the time is so tight as far as like, okay, you could probably get in about an hour. And by the time you boot everything up, get the helmet, okay, I got to recalibrate it. And then I'm going to entirely just transport myself to some oceanic world as opposed to being here in case one of the kids wakes up. It's become somehow more difficult recently to even think about getting into it. And then with the introduction of, I suppose what's even harder, you might agree, is with the introduction of the new consoles, where everything loads up so fast.
Yeah.
Even worse for me because my fast console is the Xbox, entirely different system. But for me to like fire it up, get into that game super fast, can play 4 or 5 games. For me to boot up my old PS4, put on the headset, get everything kind of geared up, like that's a commitment to almost get into it. So it's sort of hard to dive into.
Yeah, I've had experiences where I hooked it all up and my kids see that it's hooked up and they really want to play, which is fine. Like I've given them short segments, right, just to kind of get in and experience it, but I kind of just don't want them because it's like a one-player experience. I have to look out for them because they're swinging their arms around. It's just an accident waiting to happen. And so I don't have it out and available. I have it hidden away. And I've been in VR where my youngest has come down and like grab my leg while I'm in, which is is the worst feeling you've ever had in your life because it's just like that tactile thing that grabs you. So no, I'm good for now. We'll see what happens in the future, but I don't think I'll sell it. I think I will keep it somehow in some way. Hopefully it comes back in some form, but
Yeah, I think that's how the mind. I still really like it. At some point, I will get a PS5. I think like maybe even like a year, 2 years out from now. Yeah. I think that's when I probably start to dive back in, and hopefully some of the quirks as far as actually putting on the helmet, getting started in it, are kind of sorted out, and I'm in a place that has a bit more space for that particular system. Plus, some kids aren't so young and ready to just smash it to bits. So
I know.
Oh, the games we loved before.
That's right. Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. Don't mean to end up on a dand. I'll tell you what, it's just kind of a fun, not fun. It is an interesting part to, have a retrospective on as a dad as we're kind of going through these phases.
Yeah, and like to circle back, it gets better. So it's not like...
That's absolutely right.
It does get better, so...
Oh, I'm telling you that there's this one moment I'm waiting. If my kids like gaming, if they don't, that's fantastic. If my kids continue into gaming, a podcaster I adore was talking about the times his kid and him would go to a GameStop or whatever overnight and do the midnight launch.
Oh, wow, yeah.
For, whatever title it would be. And they did that 2 or 3 times. And you can just imagine, your kid is so excited about that particular launch. And the two of you go together, you wait up till midnight, you bring it home, you play a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like, man, it gets better.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, let's.
There we go. That's a nice way to save it on a good note. So let's get out of here before it gets depressing again. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to get a hold of the show, you can reach us at newdadgaming.com, or you can find us on Instagram or Twitter at newdadgaming. We would love to hear from you. Do you have an amazing story for next week's Gaming Dad Victory of the Week? Do you have your own story about giving up a particular game that just hurt that little bit extra? Do you have a Valheim game server we could pass along to the listeners? Anything at all, would absolutely adore to hear from you on any of the platforms. If you'd like to subscribe to the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and any of the major podcasting services. Once again, thank you so much for listening. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
All right. See you next week.
See you later.
Rockman!
Free bird!
Free bird.